Hey everybody, welcome back to SJG Perspective. I wanted to do a quick video. Basically, I might throw some news clips up on this, but I wanted to just touch on basically three things that are bugging me right now. How it is, and I'm actually kind of happy about it in some ways. What I'm talking about is the fake news outrages that we've been having starting, I'll just use three very recent ones. Number one, the Covington boys. Number two, the Jussie Smollet incident. And then number three, a incident that was closer to my home here in Portland, Oregon. It's between the Portland Police Bureau and a guy named Joey Gibson, who they allege he had inappropriate contact with, or at least that's how it was originally spun, text messaging between these guys. I'm going to dig a little more into each one of them, but just in general, this is going to be a fairly quick video. Just in general, we need to wake up, people, to the fact that the news is fake. It's propaganda. And I didn't like, and I still maybe don't like the term, I guess, fake news in this regard. The term fake news was designed, in my opinion, to start outing alternative voices that were flooding the internet, that were, went back to the whole Russian thing and then how they allegedly interfered in our election, and how there was so much fake news out on Facebook and on Google and on YouTube and on the social media platforms. And they coined this phrase, and then they just programmed our mind. Everywhere you look, there's just collages. Fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news, that's fake news, fake news. Our president has said it many, many times. Here's the difference. There is fake news, but the fake news, the majority of the fake news is coming from the mainstream propaganda of our mainstream news outlets. The Foxes, the MSNBCs, the CNNs, the ABC, the CBS, and then all the papers and online news sources, the Washington Post, the Washington Examiner, the New York Times, all of these outlets on the right and on the left, they frame the arguments in a way to which suits their agenda, and they cut and they paste, and they give you the image, or they give you the perspective that they want you to see, that they want you to know, that they want you to believe in. And it was so evident with what happened with the Covington boys. This smug little smartass white kid with a MAGA hat was taunting the Indian fella. Turned out to be a complete bullshit lie, to where people got fired from it, and people had to step back and actually apologize. The calls and the doxing of the kids, and that crazy gross carrot top Kathy Griffin wanting calling these kids out and wanting their names and addresses released. She's just disgusting, man. Oh, she bugs me. Anyway, there's so many that bug me, but she really rubs me the wrong way. Then it turned out to be fake, and then a little bit of it was stepped back, but it wasn't like the news wasn't dedicated on all the mainstream media as it was when they were calling them out, when it was turned out to be not the narrative that we were given turned out not to be true. That same force or strength in clearing that wasn't done. The same thing happened with this Jussie Smollet incident, where allegedly this African American, a gay African American, was assaulted by two white MAGA wearing hat hillbilly hicks in Chicago that lynched, threw a rope around his neck and dumped bleach on him and said it was MAGA country. Turned out to be a complete hoax. He actually hired a couple other brothers from another mother to go and pull this for, I don't know, so he could keep his position on Empire, or for whatever the reason was, because he wanted to get, some publicity, and he's got his publicity now. I wonder how he likes it. But again, everyone jumped on this whole narrative, and Mark Dice did a good little there's a lot of montages, but Mark Dice did a funny one on it. Everyone jumped on the narrative oh my God, this is terrible, Trump, this is Trump's America, blah 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 blah. Turned out to be completely fake. Turned out to be not the scenario at all. What's happening here in my hometown is with Joey Gibson and the Portland Police Department is allegedly They were colluding, like the Russians. They were colluding together, and they were, the police was giving him input on where Antifa was, and he was going back and saying, well, thanks, I appreciate that. And the whole thing was spun by our local media up until very recently, where they had to start stepping it back because other information came out. And when you look at it in full light, and when you look at the whole thing, it's like he didn't do anything inappropriate. The whole reason he had a relationship with the cops is because he's a respectful, good person. He's a respectful, good person who wasn't a cop hater, opposed to Antifa, who hates the cop and sees them as the problem and sees them as propping up this fascist government and these fascist governmental agencies, and they spit on the cops, they throw piss on the cops, they throw shit at the cops, they berate them, they cuss at them, and then Ted Wheeler, who's in alignment with an Antifa and on the left, and he's in alignment with anything that's hardcore leaning left, he's just jumped on board and threw his police department under the bus and said how unterrible this is. Well, then it comes out, as more information comes out, that there wasn't anything inappropriate that's been done between Patriot Prayer, Joey Gibson, and the Portland Police Department. My point is this. The news, the way they spin it to you all the time is lies. It's full of lies. And you have to take the time to, number one, not react. Number one, wait for the information to come in. Wait for the investigation or for the fuller picture to be seen before you make a decision on something. And before you grab the pitchforks and the lanterns and the torches, and you go out and you hang whoever it is that you think is the boogeyman. We need to let the whole information come out. And this just brings to point, to bear even more, the need for people to not be silenced and censored, for the alternative, the YouTubers, the social media people, the people now we have everywhere we go, man. We have cameras and we have recorders and there's all this information that the reason that's getting censored, Silicon Valley, these social media sites, most of those organizations are hardcore left-leaning, so they censor any voice on the right and they demonize them. But it's also because the powers that be that have controlled our minds for many, many, many years now know that their grip on our minds is getting shook loose because there's so many other perspectives and there's so many other provable and factual viewpoints on pick whatever subject it is that we can expose. And so what do? They censor and they shut down and they claim fake news and they push all these other voices to the side because they're losing control and they're losing the grip they have on the minds of the people with their propaganda. So this video is just basically to say, don't just believe what you hear right when you hear it, and get the full story, because when you get the full story on something, then you start to understand exactly what it is that is actually happening. And don't jump before you look. Give it a moment, man. Give the dude who jumps off the cliff, make sure that the water's deep enough before you go jumping off the cliff like a retard, because there might be some rocks 2 feet under that supposed water that just looks like, oh, it's clear cut, man, this is what happened. Look before you leap is my point. Anyways, until next time, it's SJG Perspective. Without fear or animus, we will talk to you later. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification if you like what I'm saying. And if not, don't. See you later. Bye.